Welcome back. So today we're turning our Explainer Command Center into a total survival guide. We're zeroing in on that exciting and sometimes a bit overwhelming terrain of grades 5 through 8. Look, if the schoolwork is starting to feel pretty intense right about now, don't worry. You are exactly where you need to be.
I love how our guide, Captain Spark, frames this. It's so true. You're transitioning out of those beginner phases. As things get deeper and, frankly, a lot wider academically, feeling some pressure is completely normal. But here's the best part. Your brains are literally wired and ready for this exact challenge. You aren't just everyday explorers anymore. We're talking about evolving into master explorers who can crush higher-level problem solving.
All right, let's take a quick look at our expedition map for today. We've got 5 main stops: leveling up your learning, accelerated learning explained, the Master Explorer Toolkit, upgrading to long-term memory, and finally, the Guardian Support Guide.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, Leveling Up Your Learning, where we go from Explorer to Investigator.
So, what's the biggest shift here? Well, it's realizing that true experts don't just sit around memorizing endless lists of facts. Instead, they build what we call powerful habits of mind. To really think deeply, you've got to start connecting different ideas together. You have to realize that asking the right, probing questions is honestly just as important as knowing the answers. It's all about reflecting on your own learning process, persisting when the material gets genuinely tough, and, setting consistently high standards for yourself.
Moving right along to Section 2, Accelerated Learning Explained. This is all about moving forward, not backward.
Now, there's this huge misconception out there that accelerated learning means you're just rushing or wildly speeding through the curriculum. It really, really doesn't. It's actually not about speed at all. It's about keeping you moving forward with your current grade-level content by giving you the exact support you need to master today's topic right when you need it. In the education world, we call this just-in-time scaffolding. Think about the difference here. Traditional review kind of traps you in the past, right? It forces you to spend weeks going backward, getting totally stuck relearning old material. Accelerated learning, on the other hand, refuses to look back. It uses that targeted, just-in-time scaffolding to make absolutely sure you're progressing today. It guarantees you get a true, deep understanding and keep building on your strengths instead of endlessly obsessing over past weaknesses. It's a total game changer.
Time to gear up. Section 3, the Master Explorer Toolkit.
Okay, whenever you face a massive, complex new subject, you want to start by hunting for the master keys. This is essentially the vital 20% core of a subject. And that 20%, it fundamentally unlocks your understanding of the other 80%. If you can just nail down those core, foundational ideas first, the rest of those tricky, intricate details will fall into place so much easier. To pull this off, you're going to need some mental gear. Imagine having a compass in your head to always point you toward that 20% core. Then, you use a magnifying glass to build what we call brain maps, basically a way to visually connect all this new knowledge so it actually makes total sense to you. And finally, a growth tracker. This lets you see exactly how far you've come and strategically plan your next moves. Seriously, these aren't just cute study tips. This is your actual roadmap to cutting down homework time and skipping those late-night stress tears.
Now, one of the absolutely most powerful tools in your kit is becoming what I call a super explainer. We do this using the Feynman technique. It's elegantly simple, actually. First, choose a complex topic. Second, strip away all the confusing jargon and simplify the core concepts. And third, explain it out loud as if you're teaching it to someone else. Here's the secret sauce. If you start stumbling or you have to fall back on confusing jargon while you're explaining it, boom, you've just immediately exposed exactly where the gaps in your understanding are.
Up next is Section 4, Upgrading to Long-Term Memory. Let's talk efficiency and recall.
If we want to build highly efficient study habits that actually take less time in the long run, we have to ditch the cramming, literally throw it out. Instead, we use a spaced repetition calendar. Here's how it works. You learn a new concept, you review it shortly after, and then, here's the absolute magic. You deliberately space out your future reviews over longer and longer intervals. This specific method securely grabs information out of your fragile short-term memory buffer and locks it permanently into your long-term memory.
Now, you'll probably use flashcards to handle that repetition, right? But guys, it is time for a major upgrade. Please stop writing down simple dictionary definitions. You've got to force your brain to do the heavy lifting here. Build flashcards that test your understanding of how the whole concept works and why it actually matters. You want to recall the actual mechanics of the idea, not just regurgitate vocabulary words.
All right, shifting gears for a second. Guardians, adults in the room, how exactly do you support a Master Explorer?
Welcome to Section 5, the Guardian Support Guide. It's all about mentoring your investigator.
Middle school learning is definitely not a solo mission. It requires real teamwork. So Guardians, you can provide incredible support just by actively participating in their study methods. Instead of just poking your head in and asking, hey, is your homework done? Try prompting their active recall with quick summarization exercises. Engage in those teach-back sessions we talked about. Let them use the Feynman technique to explain the topic directly to you. And above all, heavily encourage those structured, spaced-out study habits over exhausting late-night cramming marathons.
And hey, sometimes stepping back is exactly how you help them grow the most. We call this productive struggle. Basically, it means allowing your student to independently retrieve information and wrestle with a difficult challenge all on their own. Look, I know it's incredibly tempting to jump in, relieve their frustration, and just hand them the answer, but holding back, that is the ultimate support.
Why is that so important? Well, because the raw effort of trying to remember something, that messy, sometimes frustrating process of wrestling with a problem, that is where the actual learning happens. By allowing your child to experience productive struggle, you're quite literally helping them build stronger neural connections in their brain. You're forging the literal pathways of an expert mind.
Ultimately, when we utilize this accelerated toolkit, both as students and as guardians, it completely transforms the whole learning journey. We move away from the panic and the rote memorization. Instead, learning becomes engaging, joyful, relaxed, and it builds incredible, lasting confidence for those higher grades.
So, Master Explorers and Guardians, the terrain is laid out right in front of you. It's time to grab your gear, team up, and decide what part of the map are you going to conquer and what will be the very first master key you unlock on today's expedition.